Hey, book lovers! Welcome to While I Read. I'm Katie Dodrell. Today, I want to talk about a very important part of this YouTube channel, my pretty little houses on my bookshelves. I've gotten a lot of questions about my houses, and so today I thought I'd do a special episode about them. Most of my houses come from a Department 56 collection called Literary Classics. You may have heard of Department 56 before if you're interested in Christmas villages. They make a Dickens Village, an Alpine Village, all kinds of fun little villages. A few years ago, back in the late 90s, so more than a few years ago, Department 56 started a literary classics collection. My mom found out about it, and for several years, every year at Christmas, I would get a different literary classics house as my Christmas present, and I loved that. That was a great present. The houses would come with a beautiful hardback book along with them. So I got both the house and the book, and it was great. So these houses are special not only because they're beautiful and represent great books, but because they were gifts from my mama over the years. Unfortunately, Department 56 only made 5 houses in the Literary Classics series. Then it stopped making them, and these houses that you see here are now retired, meaning that they don't make them anymore. You can still buy them on Amazon or eBay, used or pre-owned, but I'm very sad that they're no longer making them. So let's talk about the books that each of these houses come from. The first one here is Aunt Polly's house from The Adventures of Tom Sawyer. If you've read Tom Sawyer, you may remember that Tom was an orphan who lived with his Aunt Polly in Hannibal, Mississippi. I love that this house is just an old-fashioned southern farmhouse. It's got a nice wraparound porch, even a little swing and a rocking chair on the porch. I love the detail. You may remember the part in the book where Tom, mischievous as he is, gets punished having to whitewash a picket fence, and he tricks other neighborhood kids into doing the work for him and even paying him for that privilege. Well, this house actually came with a little picket fence in front of it and a little figure of Tom whitewashing the fence. Unfortunately, I have lost those little figures. These houses have made 3 moves with me. They've moved to 3 different homes where I've lived, and most of the figures made it with the houses, but a few of them have gotten lost. I think Sarah has found them and played with some of them. So the figures may still be here somewhere, but I haven't seen them in a while. But I love my Tom Sawyer house. Next, you can see another house in my collection. This house was actually not part of the Literary Classics collection. It's just a fun Halloween house. You can see it has a little pumpkin on the porch, as well as some cobwebs. My mom got this for me for my birthday one year because she thought that I would like it, and she was right. I do love it. We decided that we could pretend that it was the Shrieking Shack from Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban. So even though it's not part of the Literary Village, it's a really fun house, and I love it. Next, we have this cottage, which is the house where the March sisters live with their mother, Marmee, in Little Women. I first read Little Women when I was in middle school, and I read it many times after that. It was one of my favorite books when I was growing up, as it is for so many girls. This house also used to have some figures that went with it. It had the character of Marmee sitting in a chair reading with the March sisters surrounding her. Now that I'm talking about it, I wish that I still had those figures, and maybe I'll search and find it now that I'm filming this episode. But I do still love my Little Women house. Moving to the next shelf, We have two more houses that are actually not part of the Literary Classics series. These two are actually from the Department 56 Dickens Village series. The first one is an antiquarian bookseller, so it goes along with the Literary Classics. The second one, we pretend that it's Ebenezer Scrooge's house from A Christmas Carol. I don't think it really represents a specific house, but I can tell people that and they believe me. So we decided that these houses, even though they're not actually from the Literary Classics collection, Charles Dickens wrote literary classics, so these houses fit right in the neighborhood. The address for this next house is 221B Baker Street, which you may recognize as the address for Sherlock Holmes. Sherlock Holmes is, of course, Sir Arthur Conan Doyle's famous fictional detective who starred in many novels and short stories. My favorite Sherlock Holmes stories are The Hound of the Baskervilles, in which a huge, possibly demonic dog terrorizes a family on the moor in England, and The Adventures of the Speckled Band, which is a classic locked room mystery. And here we have the bottom row, my row of shame. Both of these houses are from books that I haven't read. This first house is West Egg Manor from The Great Gatsby by F. Scott Fitzgerald. It's a beautiful house. It used to have two little statues here, and it also had figures of Gatsby and Daisy. I don't have a lot to say about this house because I haven't actually read it. My husband Ryan has read it, and he said he didn't particularly enjoy it. This house is Miss Havisham's house from Great Expectations by Charles Dickens. I have read some works by Charles Dickens, including A Christmas Carol and a book called Hard Times, and I did enjoy them. When I got this house, I tried to read Great Expectations. I think I've actually tried several times over the years, and I was just never able to get into it. And if I don't like a book, I don't finish it. So I have the house. It did have some figures that went with it. It had Miss Havisham sitting in a chair, and it had two children as well. I'd probably know who those children were if I'd read the book. Ryan has just informed me that one of the children might have been named Pip, but he can't remember the other one's name. He also read Great Expectations and didn't really enjoy it, so not a high recommendation. So I do feel guilty about the fact that I haven't read the books to go along with these houses. Now that I'm making this video, I want to say maybe I'll try again to read these books, but honestly, I probably won't. There are so many books that I want to read. I'm not going to waste my time on books that I don't want to read, even if they are classics and even if I do have the beautiful houses to go along with them. I had one more literary house that I wanted to show you. This actually usually lives on the very top of our bookshelves, and I don't think you've been able to see it in most of my videos, but I still wanted to mention it because I love it. It is a Lego model of Hogwarts from the Harry Potter books. My husband Ryan got this for me the Christmas that I was pregnant with Sarah Grace. So that would have been Christmas of 2018. That year, Ryan had been having to put together lots of things for the baby, put together a crib, and put together various toys that we wanted to have ready. And so he kept telling me that he was going to get me Legos for Christmas so that I could learn to put some things together and he wouldn't have to put everything together. Well, spoiler alert, I never learned to put things together. I did not put this together. Ryan put it together, but I do love it. You can see it's beautiful. It's extremely detailed. I'll turn it around and let you see the inside of it. And you can see this is the Great Hall, and you can see it's got like a little Quidditch broom. It's got the house flags flying. It's got a staircase, Dumbledore's staircase for his office. So it's just amazing. It's beautiful. It also came with some figures with it. We've got Harry Potter, who has lost his hair. We've got Dumbledore, Hermione, and Draco Malfoy. And there were other figures. Where would you think those figures might be now? If you guessed that Sarah got a hold of them, you were right. So they're scattered around here somewhere. But this is my beautiful Hogwarts Castle that Ryan got me, and I love it. So that's my literary classics collection. I wish Department 56 would start making houses from books again. I was so excited and hopeful about all the houses that I wanted them to make, like Pemberley from Pride and Prejudice or Green Gables from Anne of Green Gables. But it looks like they're never going to do it. Oh well, I love the houses that I have, and I enjoyed showing them to you today. Happy reading! Now, go cook supper while I read.